Thank you for joining and tuning in to the Two Pennies, the 2 Cents podcast. I'm your host, Nino. First of all, thank you to the man upstairs who again let me open my eyes, go out, have a nice, productive day, come back, in all good pieces. Nothing happened. Just gracious for what I'm able to do. Please, people, click that like button. Loving your subscriptions. Loving the subscriptions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always a shout out to my fans, my followers, my listeners. Thank y'all very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. It's only due. If celebrities, superstars, actors, all just really wouldn't know what they would be or what they wouldn't be without their fans. They really need to take heed because the fans will got you there. When you get big and be all nasty and arrogant and think you better than the following man or following woman, remember that following man, that following woman that you think you better is, that's the reason why you in the position you in, because they liked you. It was something about you that drawed them to you. You was magnetic to them, and they gave you support. So a lot of times, just think about it. Sports, athletes, superstars, actors, big celebrities. Quit crushing your fans, because I know they can be at times over the top too much, but you wouldn't be nowhere without your fans. Today, I was in a group chat with some of my people, and they brought up an interesting topic in which, of course, they want me to give my take on it. And this is what it is. Can you take a homeless person off the streets to live with you or whatever, a fellow friend or whatever? Let me repeat that again, peeps. Can you take a homeless person off the street to live with either you, a friend, a colleague, or whatever? Yes, you can. It's possible to take a homeless person off the streets to live with, but it requires careful consideration and preparation. Yeah, because really, you think about it. You're bringing somebody into your home. You're bringing somebody into your world. You're now basically it's finna be a part of their world. And I know a lot of times homeless people probably think if somebody pulls up on them, because this has happened to me. At times I have offered to take a homeless person off the streets, but you gotta realize why they're hesitant, why they're kind of like they timid, why they don't want to really step forward and consider what you're offering, because look what they have been through. And again, a lot of homeless people, men, especially women, they think that if you're trying to take them off the streets, you either want something, trying to pimp them, trying to use them a kind of way. So I understand, but homeless people got to realize it's just some nice, genuine people that their heart is pouring out to you what you're going through, homeless person. And so they generally want to help you. But, you know, I can understand how the homeless person is feeling too, because, you know, they have been through so much. Consider your capacity and the resources. Number one, home space. Ensure you have an adequate space and resources to comfortably accommodate the person, including a bed, food, and hygiene supplies. Take a homeless person off the streets. It's like almost giving them a room. Of course, you have to have sufficient amount of food in your icebox or your refrigerator, because remember, you're doing everything for them right now. They're like a baby that's being born, and I know there's not a baby, but they're coming from literally nothing. So they don't have nothing. And of course, hygiene. You have to go get them, soaps. Somewhat you have to buy them clothes. See, I was going to do all this. I'm going to even take another level like this, and I'm not trying to be funny. I was going to take them to the hospital. Not that they was going to give me nothing, but you got to realize they've been on the street for a minute. So if they was going to come into somebody's home or even my home, I want them to go see if they had anything. They might need some shots. They might be sick. I mean, you bring in a whole nother person, a whole nother form of human being into your household that have been out on the streets, that have saw the baddest of the baddest, that have saw the worst of the worst. And of course, you want to give them a nice bed, a nice room, food. You want to clothe them. Like I say, basically a homeless person is somewhat kind of like your child or someone that you're totally providing for, or adolescent, because they don't have nothing. So, but I believe if you're going to attempt to bring a homeless person off the street, start maybe a month or so, or make sure you have everything. Gather up things you have. See, you can't take that homeless person off the street and then all of a sudden just go buy clothes, food, hygiene, things like that. I think you have to have that already when you want to make that step. And if you see them maybe by a bridge or out and about or by a store where, because they have to sleep and they are in so many hazardous and dangerous areas, you have to you have to almost generally be prepared. You can't go get them and then start to bringing things on. You have to already be prepared. So I believe already have a room for them. Maybe go get it or buy them a bed. Get clothing, from underwear to socks. Go get them some shoes, plenty of food, hygiene. Have all of that when you're ready to step to them. Not step to them and then go get it. Have all of that going and talking to the homeless person and ask them, are they interested in maybe moving in with you or moving in with somebody you know? In other words, trying to get them off the streets. Time and commitment with trying to take a homeless person off the street and live. Be prepared for a significant time, commitment. Accepting someone transition off the streets requires patience, understanding, and ongoing support. You have to be patient. You have to not force nothing with them. Because remember, they have been through so much as far as temperament. They have had their heart broken. They have been done, abused, misused so much that you're going to have to be patient. Don't bring them in from the day one, and if something they do, you start to flying off the handle, going off, or getting mad, or showing your anger. You have to be patient because remember, it is a big transition for these people. They are used to probably getting up. This is their daily agenda. Getting up, trying to piece a piece of clothes together that they have to go in apartment dumpsters or a store dumpster, get them some kind of socks, all that's stowed away, what nobody else need. And then a big part of their living, I see it all the time, is most of them have a shopping cart and they push around all day from the neighborhood grocery store or the supermarket. So saying that, they go from that to all of a sudden now they're in a warm home. They have water supply like they need. They have food, again, shelter. They have nice hygiene. Because again, sometimes a lot of homeless people, and it's not their fault, but they don't get to bathe, have a change of clothes, weeks, days, you know, a long time through duration. So you have to be patient, because remember, a lot of it with the homeless people is you see them if they physically beat down and have lost weight and they don't look, you know, up to par, but their mind is also beat down and then lost a lot of hope. So now they're beat up mentally, and being beaten up mentally can take a toll just as much as being beaten up physically. You have to have patience, because this is a transition for them. When they first get in your home, they might not even want to talk first. See, they're probably still in shock that this is going on. So you can't force the issue. Don't get them in your home. Don't take a homeless person off the street and then come with the method that, okay, I got this, I'm doing this for you. So now if you don't react a certain way, meaning the person that took them off the street, if the homeless person don't react a certain way, now you're going to throw the guilt trip on them and try to say, well, I took you off the street, so you should be appreciative. No, because one thing, remember, taking that homeless person off the street is a great and noble deed, but you came to them. I have seen the homeless. I have did a podcast on how they show great strength and resiliency. They don't really ask nobody to take them off or nothing like that. They really don't ask for a handout till they really need it. So if you're going to take them off the street and bring them into your place, your loft, your castle, your casa, whatever, you have to be patient. Just look at it like this. Think if the shoe was, think if situation was flipped and you was the homeless and somebody took you off the street. The main thing you wouldn't want is, okay, they done took you off the street. Now they trying to push you and start you not doing things in a certain way, or you not reacting in a certain way, or maybe you're sleeping a little bit too long. They think you should be up. You know, think about how that would make you feel, because you have been on the streets. You have lost a lot of dignity, willpower. So you're trying to build yourself back up. You have to show patience and commitment when taking a homeless person off the street, especially if you want them to live with you. Financial resources. Consider the financial implications of providing housing, food, and other necessities. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. This don't react off a whim. This don't be kind of like, I'm going to just react on the spur of the moment. No. If you have seen a homeless person, maybe one or two, and I'm not trying to say just kind of, you know, home in on one, or just kind of always looking at, trying to specify, have your finger pointed to one you want to get. But if you do see one that you might want to take a hold of and get them off the street, build up first, because we got to remember, you got to still work your job and take care of yourself. But taking them off the streets comes with now instant responsibility, is that you are responsible for them right now. They don't have no job. They don't have no means of getting no financial, getting money. They don't have no kind of way of having, again, clothing. They can't get food. If you have a kid, just think about that. If you would take a homeless person off the street to live with you and you have a kid, that's literally like another child. I don't care what age it is. Because, so you got to look at it. You're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your biological child, but then you're taking care of the homeless person. Because they don't have nothing. They are at zero. They don't have nothing. You instantly become responsible. You instantly are their mother and their father, or their provider. And I don't care if the homeless person is 12, 16, 22. You're taking care of them. So in taking care of them, you're taking responsibility for them. So taking responsibility for them, you have to have the finances, because it's gonna be a lot of money. Not only that you have to take time, but it's gonna take a lot of money because they're gonna need, again, clothing. Maybe the homeless person you just took off the street, maybe she has got sick, so maybe she has to go to the hospital and get medication, but she's still going to come back to your place to stay. Okay, you have to pay for their medication. They don't have no kind of Medicaid. If they do, it's slim to none, because even with Medicaid, you still going to need some kind of money, because only what the hospitals can do is use your Medicaid. A percentage of that helps in them getting meds and everything, but you still have to have money to go to the pharmacy and get meds. So you have to have your finances up. You really do. You have to have your finances really good. And I'm not saying you got to be super rich, because I believe some homeless people will be so gracious, just a little or nothing, and they'll be very appreciative. But you're going to need some money. You're going to need some extra money, because they're going to have needs, and you can't get mad if they stand with you and they come to you and explain the needs that they're asking for. They're going to have needs besides the basic needs that you're going to have already at your house. Now you have another member in your household. So just like a child, just like one of your siblings, your brother or sister staying with you or whatever, and you taking care of them, yeah, you're gonna have the things to take care of them with, or you're gonna have all the resources to take care of them, but then still, it's things that they gonna want. And taking on that part of bringing that homeless person into your house, you have to accommodate them. You have to accommodate them. Remember, you can't just get them in there and just do them in kind of way, because if that's the point, then you could have just left them out. Don't use your leverage that you got by trying to be a good person, and we understand that, but then if things start to going left or sideways, now you want to throw it back in their face. And that's the worst thing you can do to anybody. Help them out, and then when it get tough, or when it gets like, okay, the battle is now uphill. It was downhill and smooth, but now the battle is uphill. Now everybody wants to start pointing fingers and throwing things in people's face. No, you don't do that. Personal boundaries. Personal boundaries. Let me say it again. Personal boundaries. Let me say that one more time. Establish clear boundaries and expectations from the outset. Okay, if you got a homeless person and you don't have a child, and they say you and the homeless person are staying now. Okay, now, if you're going to have enough trust and enough faith in them to let them stay at home while you go to work, because you still have to go to work, go out and bring in an income, you have to lay down to the homeless person, hey, I don't want you in my room. I'm going to lay out everything you need for your room, but I don't need you all over the house. Stay in your little old space, your little cubic space that I have allowed you to come into. I'm giving you everything you need. And the homeless person shouldn't look at that as that being any kind of mean or nothing like that, because remember, the homeless person got to realize now, to this point, you're letting them in your cubicle. So if you letting them in your cubicle, they got to realize that they're going to have boundaries that they're going to have to stand by. They're going to have to have rules that they can't break. I don't want you in my room. I don't want you in my bath. In my bathroom, if you have a home that has 2 or 3 bathrooms, the homeless person has their bathroom. You have to put all that space in. Everything that I have for me, I'm talking about the person that lets them move in. You don't come in my room. You don't come to my bathroom. You stay in your area. And I believe the homeless person should, they should be cool with that. They should respect that. They should fall in line with that. Because now the person that's taking you in is really doing a comfortable and beautiful thing. I can go to work and provide for us. So I gotta be able to trust that when I go to work, I'm not saying you got to take care of the house, but it'd be okay to cook, and clean up the house if the homeless person got skills like that. But sure don't. And I'm going to work, have your people over that was on the streets with you. This is not a party. Again, this is not your house. You're welcome to this house, but this is not your house. When somebody is taking a homeless person off the streets, the homeless person got to realize, I believe, you got to cut ties with that group that you was kicking it with on the streets, because I chose you. That person chose you to be a good Samaritan, bring you off the streets and try to help you to get your life back. They didn't choose everybody else. Sometimes a good person can only help one person at a time. They don't have the money to help you, the homeless person, and then the other 3 homeless people. No, you have to be able to cut ties with that group that you was associated with, or that you was around all the time when you was on the streets. And I know, you feel bad about it, and the homeless person moved in, have compassion, and figure, well, I hate to leave my group. But now, if you have a blessing and somebody has reached out, grabbed you, and trying to pull you from almost drowning to taking you and keeping your head above water, for a minute, you got to think about yourself. You got to think about yourself. But you have to respect that person that is doing this. So, again, honor the boundaries that the person you living with. Don't have all your old friends or all your old people that you hang out with, because the person is going to work or they off doing something, trying to get some money. Now you think it's a party, you think it's on because now you got a nice warm house you can stay in. Don't have people in either that woman or that man's house. Don't disrespect that like that, because really you're playing with a dangerous war. Because just as in an instant that person came and took you off the streets by doing something that was as foul as what I just mentioned, they can come home and kick you right back out and you back on the streets. And now the blessing that you had, you blew it. So, don't do that. Family dynamics. You have a family. Discuss the decision with them and ensure that they're on the board. Yeah, if you have a kid, just like say, if you have a daughter and you want the homeless person you want to help was a man, you got to really take in consideration how your daughter gonna feel. Saying like, you go to work and then your daughter go to school, but possibly it will be some time there when your daughter and that homeless person, that man is there, and they're both together when you're not around. And we know how this world is so weird, so cruel, especially with, people doing offensive things to kids or whatever. I'm not going to even get in the big word I want you, but doing things to kids. So really discuss it with your daughter, or we're going to flip it around. If You have a son, and then you bring in a homeless woman. Same thing. It's going to be time that you're out working, and that homeless woman and your son now, make sure they're comfortable. Because one thing about, they might be homeless, but they still, the homeless can be ruthless and cruel too. So you got to realize that, discuss this with your family. Really take heed, take notes, sit down and listen to what they really think about you taking in a homeless person. Because it's a big step. I'm not lying. It's a very big step. It's a very big step. I think it's added pressure if you got a kid. Now, it's tough if you're single and you're taking a homeless person. But I think if you have a kid and you're taking a homeless person, that is so much added pressure, because now you got to not only watch out for your valuables and your things at home, or your things at home, your commodities, your valuables, all the things you have at home, but now you got to watch out around this joker or whoever this missus is, or whoever this might be, around your children. And still, the first thing you have to be, first thing you supposed to take care of is your kid. I understand you trying to do a noble thing and take care of a homeless person, but you got to realize if your kid is satisfied with this. And in this today's world, it'll be a big step if you really can take in a homeless person and you got a kid, because most of the time them kids just not gonna go for that. Hell, them kids don't like they cousins and they siblings to be around their house all the time. But a person they just don't know, a common unknown person, I mean, that's a very big step. But hey, it can happen. But sit down, talk about it, have a big conference about it. And just don't sit down one time. That's why I say, if you feel like you're gonna be one of these people that want to accept a homeless person into your world, into your lifestyle, into how you go about every day, let it build up. Sit back and watch for a minute. Don't do nothing kamikaze in this. All of a sudden, okay, now I just wake up, I'm finna go and see can I find a homeless person and take them off the street. No. Let it build up. Also, kind of, be watching a few times the homeless person that you considering. Kind of, even if you can get a little information on them, it wouldn't hurt. Ask about, what they've been doing lately. Even, it wouldn't hurt to see, well, what was their reasoning why they're homeless. Because, a lot of times, people are homeless because they have lost their jobs. The money is in default. But it's always been said, too, a lot of times, homeless people had a good scenario going on. They had a good thing going on and they blowed it. But a lot of times they say they blowed it by because they want to be big time drug users and they get strung out on drugs and things happen like that and they lose everything. But still, everybody deserves a second, third, or fourth chance. What's that saying about the good Lord in the Bible? I can do you 7 or 77 times or something. I forget that saying. But it's something like that. I will forgive you 7 to 77 times. I believe something like that. I straight up don't know that scripture, that saying, but I know it's something like that. But my point is, everybody deserves another chance. Everybody can be forgiven, because at any given time, you got to remember that homeless person and you can be in the same mode. It can happen to anybody. How to deal with a homeless person. Offer help thoughtfully. If you feel this appropriate, you can offer assistance, whether it's food, water, or information about local services. Be clear about what you can offer. Follow up with kindness. If you have a positive interaction, positive interaction. Again, a positive interaction. You might ask if they would like to chat again and keep in touch. Of course, be kind to that homeless person no matter what, because they have came through enough bitterness, rudeness, nastiness. They have came through enough of being belittled, ran over, treated like trash, debris, cussed out, taking their human dignity. Be kind. At least give them that. You don't know what a little kindness can maybe make their day. This mad struggle that they go through on a constant, be kind to them. It's whatever you can be. Be kind to them. Even if you are in a meeting with them and they do something that kind of, gets on your nerve. Be kind to them. Because these people are going through some of the greatest despair. Some of the greatest I don't know at times, and I have said it, how do they keep the sanity they do for what they're facing? And I'm talking about facing every minute of the day, every hour of the day, every hour of a week. And they just they're facing weather elements. They're facing people that treat them like they're not even humans. People at times try to treat homeless people like they worse than dogs. And again, I have seen them just be cool, just go about their business. I have said this in one of my earlier podcasts, and I'm going to say it again. If anybody should go get an assault rifle or get their hands on artillery, magazines, bullets, and go crazy, you would think it would be homeless people for what they facing. But be kind to them. It can just make their day. Just think about it. It would. Because a lot of them haven't had Mr. or Mrs. Kindness come around their way in a long time. A lot of them, when it's thrown their way, they don't know how to react to it because they're allergic to it. It hasn't came around their way in so long. Summing this up, I'm going to say this. And this is a thought I have always had. I have talked it over with my colleagues, my partners, my comrades, my buddies, whatever you want to call it. And when I say this, I know it's going to be kind of hard, but I just always was wondering about this because this is the great United States of America where there help people on foreign grounds to the fullest, will extend their arms out, trying to help them. But it seems like it's a mystery, or it seems like they are inept when it comes to helping their own, the people right on them. Always ran across my mind concerning the homeless. And I know so many unfortunate individuals on the streets with all these millionaires in this green soil. We live in the United States of America compared to many other very strict and very harsh countries. Why can't a handful of these wealthy people, these millionaires, donate at least $500,000 to a whole million REM, but $500,000, because the United States have a lot of millionaires, and I'm talking about all these millionaires are not celebrities famous. It's a lot of millionaires that's in the corporate world that you don't even really know, that's not even famous, but all these millionaires, why they can't just donate $500,000 to a meal ticket to build facilities? And I'm talking about facilities better than homeless shelters. Because I'm not knocking them, but, that's nothing but mass destruction right there. You're living in homeless shelters, you're dealing with bed bugs, all kind of diseases and everything. Why can't these millionaires donate 4, 5, 6, or 7 of them? Put in, again, $500,000 together. Build facilities, nice facilities. Then, why they can't, with the money they have, hire people, common American people, for jobs, for employment, to tend and watch over the homeless people. Because you can't just build the facilities and put the homeless people in there. The homeless people are broke down, grief-stricken. They're on their last leg. Some of them don't have but one leg. Gangrene, all kind of things, diseases have took over their body. But they're still trying to make it. Why come you can't hire people to watch over the homeless people, the ones that still trying to make it? And I know it's a lot of them, but millionaires and all these people can gather up money for everything else. And you got to realize, a lot of these homeless people are VA people that will fight for the country. While you're able to gain these millions, make these great business ventures, be a savvy businessman, it's because this person that's living out on the street has fought for this red, white, and blue and gave you the opportunity where you didn't have to go fight. They out there losing dismemberment of body parts and all. That's why they come back home, because they can't get a job. Living on a little VA check, that only can take you so far. Why these people, these millionaires, can't take this money, put it together in a big old pot, build nice, substantial facilities, hire people as a job Monday through Friday, even the weekends, kind of like you do the hospital thing, kind of like you do the nursing home. And I'm not talking about where people going, well, it's a nursing home. No, nursing home is a different thing. Nursing home is for senior citizens. We're talking about homeless people. Homeless people doesn't necessarily have to be senior citizens. Homeless people are young people. Build facilities for these homeless people. Get them in there. Get them tended to. Have somebody watch over them. Compensate and pay these people for doing that. There's a new job. There's a new way of a job placement right there. That's a new job placement right there. I have always wondered that. Why doesn't that even come up? Why doesn't all these smart, clever businessmen, and I know everything has got to be about, well, I'm not going to create nothing unless I can get something back of it. Because, in this harsh world, when you give something, when something is given you, it's always for a price. But can't you just help the homeless people some way? Because, like I say, that could be you. And I don't care if you got millions. Something go wrong. Things can happen. Your money can be taken, and you can be homeless. But again, millionaires, why you can't tally up that money, get it together, build something, get a portion of these homeless people off the street. I'm not saying you can get all of them, but a big portion of these people off the street. Homeless people. Can you take a person off the streets and live? I believe so. It's going to be a big task. It's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of gumption. It's going to take a lot of heart. It's going to take a lot of finances. But it can be done. It can be done. So, I think let's try to do it. 2 pennies. 2 cents. My podcast. I'm Nino. Thank you.